I put a post out on X last week asking what would bring all Star Wars fans back together, and that post got a great reception. Lots of people commented, lots of fans came over to say what they think would fix Star Wars or would bring the fans back together. I think it's time that we come together as fans and try and tell Disney what exactly we want. They're not asking. I'm doing Disney's work here. I paid for the promotion of this tweet so that I got more responses from fans, so that more fans could see it and respond. I would like a check from Disney for the money that I put into this video, but all this is for the love of Star Wars. It's trying to bring the fans back together because we've been fighting for way too long. I'm going to start with Twitter, and I got responses on the last YouTube video. That YouTube video did very, very well. It's the most viewed video on my channel, and also a lot of people came to subscribe. So if you're a new subscriber here, thank you for subscribing, and I hope to provide you with a lot of great pieces of lore. This is the Lore Night channel. We talk about Star Wars lore, and we also talk about indie comic lore, which is the other thing that I make. I'm an indie comic artist, so that's where the Lore Night comes from. But yeah, give me a subscribe and we'll go from here. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video so that more fans can see it. But this is part 2 of what would bring all Star Wars fans back together. H-Town Baby says, not Disney. Well, Disney owns it at this point, so there's nothing much we can do about that. Snake Flag says, doing a Dallas Bobby Dream sequence movie where none of the shitty woke stuff ever happened and it was just a bad dream. I'm not sure what movie you're referring to, but yeah, I mean, a bad dream is one thing. I think we should go into the world between worlds and do something like that. I don't necessarily agree it should be a bad dream or it should have been fake, but maybe an alternate timeline, maybe another universe. Rooftop Korean says, I don't think there's anything that would make me watch Star Wars again. An absolute gambit of woke dog shit. There has to be something. There has to be something that would bring the fans back together, old fans back to watch. I have a really good comment down here that kind of explains that. Jennifer Wilmore says 1977. Is that supposed to be like 1776? Let's get back to it. So I think she's saying if we time traveled back to 1977, all the fans would come back together. That's how I interpret this comment. OG Play of the Day says, they were never together through the 80s, 2000s, 2010s, never together. I disagree. I think whenever I was a kid during the prequels, you could talk to other fans and they would all talk about Star Wars. We all loved the movies and everything that was coming out then, but we could just talk about Star Wars without fighting about politics and all this. Have a conversation without wanting to kill each other. The Honorable Reverend says it's unavoidable Disney being revealed as the true emperor. Maybe they are. Copperhead says, I'm not even into this. Enjoyed it as a kid, but I'm going to say Disney selling it to get off the woke bullshit. If that's what it takes, if they can't bring this thing back, then they might have to just sell it, but I still think it's making way too much money to even sell. I don't think that thought's even gonna cross their heads right now. Let Them Eat Cake says, a new Dallas type movie where episodes 7 through 9 were all just a bad dream. I need to watch this Dallas. Can somebody explain to me in the comments what this is, this Dallas type movie? Another vote for the bad dream. Waking up from a terrible nightmare. Randy says, unwaking the whole franchise, escaping the clutches of Disney, seeing Mark Hamill as the dark side emperor and being destroyed. I guess really Star Wars is dead forever. So Randy thinks Star Wars is dead. I don't think Star Wars is dead yet. I don't think it is. That Ninja Chris says, honestly, they need to just focus on the Old Republic, lol. Yeah, if they brought Old Republic back, I think people would be weary and they'd probably say, this movie's gonna bomb. All the big voices out there would say, it's gonna be garbage, woke, but if they actually made it good, turn the games into movies, I think that would go a long way. The Winged Hussar says, well-made KOTOR and remaking the sequels via the World Between Worlds. DOFP, there's another Dallas. I need to watch this Dallas movie. Hail to the Redskins says redo 8 and 9 and stop making so much content. That was actually a talking point from Disney saying, well, there's franchise fatigue, and I don't believe in franchise fatigue. If they put a new piece of Star Wars content out every day and it was actually good, people would watch Star Wars every single day. Rebel Scott says, a complete remake and reboot of the original trilogy, but have Ewan McGregor still play Obi-Wan and Hayden still play Darth Vader. So a complete remake and reboot of the original trilogy. You could do that with the World Between Worlds. I don't know if most fans would like a complete remake and reboot of the original trilogy. Let's just keep that how it is, because those movies are almost perfect. That's kind of the basis of Star Wars. Jalen CT USA says it's too far gone. Keith S says Star Wars fans are at the apathy stage of the relationship. There is no more questioning, no more wondering, no more anger, just apathy. Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford even killed my love for the originals. It was just something I used to enjoy. I don't care anymore. Okay. I used to like Star Wars. I used to watch it. I don't care anymore. I think a lot of people feel that way. I heard all this stuff. I didn't like the last few movies, so it's dead to me. I don't care. All right. Good Nerds, Good Adventures says a standalone CGI Luke Skywalker movie with a new plot and Rogue One tone. Include Wedge Antilles and the Red Squadron for good measure. So you want to see some of that Rogue Squadron type deal. At this point, I don't really like the CGI. I don't like whenever they do CGI. It just looks funny. I think they should just have a new actor come in and play Luke Skywalker if you're gonna do it. Let me know in the comments if you like CGI and you think that would be a good idea to put their faces on new actors. CGI stuff's just weird. I don't know, but yeah, okay. Silver Crusader says, here's an image that's kind of cool. What are they trying to say here? Possibly this is an explosion. This is Star Wars that's exploded now. It used to be it turned into the Death Star, it's exploded, and the only thing to come out of it are both halves of the fandom. Of course, the Millennium Falcon and you got a TIE Fighter are these two halves of the fandom escaping Star Wars and what they did to Star Wars. What does this mean? Or is it just an image that says, let's get back to the originals, because all this, you have to extract the originals from the background. Okay, I think I'm getting too far into this. I think they just put a cool picture up, but possibly that's what they're saying. Blue says, a KOTOR TV series made by the original BioWare writing team. The BioWare writing team, yeah, they used to make some great games back in the day, man, and the KOTOR TV series would give us more than just 3 movies. Personally, I want 3 new films. A KOTOR TV series would give us a lot more content and probably be able to explore the characters better. Yeah, I would say probably that might be best for a TV or else a spin-off of the films. Freedom Outpost says, giving creative control back to George. There's another vote for George, man. Let's get him back in there. Bring him in to give you notes. Do the notes, follow the notes. There are a lot of fans out there that say only Star Wars lore that comes from George Lucas is actual Star Wars, so that would solve a big problem there. Trace is only going to come back if it's not under Disney anymore. WA Miscreant says a weekly sitcom set in the bar of Tatooine along the lines of Cheers. Oh man, I don't know about that one. I think that would be fun for YouTube. But yeah, Cheers, you know, here's the images they showed us. Where everybody knows your name. Yeah, I can see that. Bootlegger Comics says, I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. So just kill it, basically. Just nuke it all. Okay. From orbit. Capt Visis, the removal of Kathleen Kennedy. That's kind of funny because I haven't seen many comments talk about her anymore. They're just kind of saying how to fix it, but of course they're saying, you know, she's still in charge technically. Casey Murph says, get it out from under Disney. Kania That Donut says, allow the heroes to be strong and capable and stop making them weak. What they did to Luke Skywalker character was criminal. I agree. We need Luke Skywalker back as the hero. John Cutt says, wipe all Disney projects from canon, bring back expanded universe as canon. Mara Jade movie series not written by anyone who wrote any of the Disney projects. Mara Jade is fresh on everyone's mind because, as you know, Disney just sold Mara Jade's lightsaber hilt and it sold out in like, what, an hour? They sold 350 of them for $350. Make her canon. Stop putting legends on everything that should be canon. I say just take legends off of everything and say, you know what? It's all free game. It's all canon again. I really hate that word legends. Pretty Graphique Design says, Jar Jar Binks, Mom, that would do it, yeah. Chris Condiff says, throwing out the sequels and making Heir to the Empire. Yes, I want to see Heir to the Empire. We're rereading those books right now. I Found It Like This says, a confusing struggle between 2 generically named political entities leading to an immensely powerful planet-killing superweapon being built by the bad politicians. I can't guarantee it will work, but it did in the first 6 to 7 times they used that plot for Star Wars movie. Lol. I Found It Like This is saying that we need a 4th super weapon Death Star. Maybe a Death Ray this time? Who knows? Some kind of killer virus? I don't know if that'll save Star Wars, but Logical Extremist says, admit Last Jedi was an abomination. I think they know by now that they kind of that's what divided the fandom, was The Last Jedi. Box Cutter says, get rid of the woke crap and get back to the story that happened so long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Box Cutter sends the South Park clip that says, put a chick in it and make her gay. Sal says, D-Bag ruined it for Star Wars. F Luke and his father, Darth Soros. Shinzao Long says, Star Killer. Man, I would love to see a Star Killer. I would like to see them bring The Force Unleashed to the big screen. I don't know if we'll ever get that, because they even said back in the day that it would be lore breaking to have. So now we're going to go to the YouTube comments, because there's more. The comments I got on YouTube are very well thought out as well. Marshallada says, we are all Star Wars fans here. We all want the same good stories, good Star Wars content. It's time for a change to bring back Star Wars what it once was, a galaxy far, far away. Luke says, Star Wars multiverse. I want a Star Wars multiverse. I think that's the thing that's going to really, that may actually save Star Wars. Steve T says, nothing. The point of no return was the Acolyte. I think it was divided before the Acolyte. What if the Acolyte was made to be nothing more than a different timeline? Steve says that won't fix the bad actors and the terrible script. Yeah, I mean, but you could just kind of ignore it. Maybe you could just ignore the Acolyte. Everybody's basically doing that right now, except for me, because I'm making a series called Star Wars WTF, and I'm going to continue that series after this video. But yeah, we're still on the Acolyte. I think I'm working on episode 4 right now, so go check those out. I'm going through the entire Star Wars library, all the films, all the TV shows, and we're doing WTF moments from poke fun at our favorite franchise, so go check those out. Treemeister says, the lore night, no. Multiverses or timelines makes it worse. They ruined it. Okay, if they ruined it, they ruined it, but I think give most fans what they want with timelines. Maybe. I don't know, Treemeister. I think it would work. Zoller says, help us, George Lucas. You're our only hope. Yes, let's hope he comes back. George Lucas, look, if you could do one thing, please, in your retirement, I need you to come back. I need you to come back, and I need you to provide just some notes, just walk in Disney and say, you know what, I need you to follow these notes for the next movie, and I need you to put it out there that I'm helping you, because the fans need it. We need it. Just do it. Makoto says, for me, I'd like more quality Star Wars video games. That's what kept me the most engaged during the prequel era. While I enjoyed episode 1, 2, and 3, it was Battlefront games and Force Unleashed games that kept me a fan for years. We haven't gotten nearly as many under Disney. I enjoyed Jedi Survivor games, but the Outlaws was disappointing for me. I'd like to see more games. I think a lot of the fans that were young, like me during episode 1, 2, and 3, were kept around through the games as well, because a lot of fans didn't read the books or the comics. Yeah, the games definitely were a great placeholder in between movies. They're releasing a turn-based game or something for Star Wars. It's like supposed to be the next big game, but it's turn-based, and I don't know. I don't really like those kind of games, but make some good games, because they're good studios out there that can make a lot of money. J.S. Swissman says, I imagine most ex-fans of Star Wars don't now dislike or hate the franchise, but rather they are simply apathetic because the quality of the products, with a few exceptions like Andor, churned out by Disney, were so poor. People want to make a big deal about Disney's woke messaging, but the truth is, most people don't care if movies or TV shows have messaging as long as the overall narrative is compelling. For me personally, there's no coming back from Star Wars as a whole. If a movie or TV show released that has good reviews, I may consider watching it, but that's as far as it goes. And I said, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Star Wars is dead comments from big voices, whether they're using that for engagement or actually the fans. I watch everything Star Wars regardless of how it's reviewed, but I think we need more good reviews, more objective reviews, like I do here on this channel. I objectively review things on this channel, especially Star Wars things. I say, is this objectively good or bad? Joshua says, interesting, but I'm not convinced that Disney is the one responsible for bringing the fans back together. No matter what they do, no matter what movie or show they release, there will always be some people who love it and people who hate it. You can't please all the people all the time, etc. I think the only thing that will bring the fans together is the fans, and for that to happen, the fans need to stop acting so toxic to each other. The fans need to be okay with other fans disagreeing with them. The fans are the ones who ruined Star Wars, not Disney. I don't agree with that. Even if you hate what Disney made, there are plenty of people who loved it. A lot of people say they should have made the heir to the Empire trilogy and stuck with the books, even though George himself said that they weren't canon. It kind of went back and forth with that. I think he said write the books like they are canon, but then he was like, they might not be canon, they are canon, who knows what's canon. I hated those books, so if they had done that, maybe I would have been on the side that hated the sequels. But if people stop getting angry just because they don't agree, then the community can come back together. Yeah, we gotta stop being mad at each other maybe, and mad at the people who make the stuff that we don't like. I don't know. Not for nothing, but I've started a podcast where I speak with a friend of mine who almost exactly the opposite of me in terms of which Star Wars movies are our favorite. The point of our show is to discuss what we like and dislike about each of the movies, but at the end of the show, we're still friends. We listen to each other with respect, and then we agree to disagree. I created the show specifically because I believe the fans are the ones who need to bring themselves together. That's cool, because that's what I'm kind of trying to do with the fans speak videos. So that's pretty cool. I think the fans should, talk more instead of fighting all the time, because it's insane out there. Check that podcast out if you're interested. I'd be happy to come on there and debate you, because some of the stuff he said here, I mean, obviously I don't agree with, but others, yeah, absolutely. Like, the fans didn't ruin Star Wars, but I think that we can come together and tell them what we want out of Star Wars. Hemi Fan says, what would bring them back together is for the little sci-fi fanboys to grow the heck up and calm the heck down and acknowledge that it's okay for different fans to like different things. I said, hey, the fans are passionate. They spend all their time and money on Star Wars, and they felt like someone took it from them. But yeah, fans of the new stuff shouldn't be the target of anger, nor the other way around. My point is that there has to be something Disney can do to bring everyone together. Matt Palmer says they need to give Star Wars the Love, Death, and Robots treatment, give the reins over to a different animation house, and let them make short, standalone stories. Then hold a vote and have the fans vote on which story they'd like to have expanded on. The story would have to be directly expanded upon. It could just be core inspiration. It would be the easiest way to walk into a whole new line of Star Wars stories that are quite literally informed by the fans. Oh, and stop making movies that exist solely to impress people who are perpetually offended. Make something because the story is good. Oh, and for the love of God, getting killed by a lightsaber has to count. You're dead. If Qui-Gon dies, you all die. Anywhere on your body with a lightsaber, it's going to cause a massive amount of damage, and I agree with that last part. His idea is actually really good. We could maybe the fans could all come together and vote on something that might be interesting to see, just say, hey, what do you want? Again, I feel like I'm doing their work for them right now. I'm bringing what the fans want to them. They should be doing this, really. Fenris says, I have loved Star Wars since I was a wee lad. It is the arrogant Disney crap I cannot stand and will not respect. Some of the shows like the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, and also Rebels, all the nonsensical movies that, despite bringing in money on account they were Star Wars. But it was not those movies that killed it. It was the arrogant refusal to even accept criticism from Disney and their cronies that caused Star Wars fans to walk away. The expanded universe had a proper canonical tier system and how much something qualified as canon. The Neo fans know nothing of this. Personally, I no longer really care about it, as Disney has made up their minds about ruining it. This fan does say that they have made some good stuff, but they can't accept criticism from the fans, which you have to accept criticism to get better. I mean, Disney, and you're just like, I don't care what they say. I'm going to put out whatever I want to put out. Treemeister says, retcon most of what Disney has made. Do the expanded universe OG fans grew up with. Stay true to the stories. Kick the new generations and their woke fan fictions out of the fandom. Hire people like Henry Cavill who actually care about the lore to make the shows and movies. Yeah, I mean, Henry Cavill would be really cool in Star Wars. I don't know who he could play. Probably a hero. But yes, stick with the OG. There are so many stories in the EU, in the expanded universe, that it's insane. And the fans already love them. It's already a classic. Like, just make them into movies and you're good. It's as simple as that. JMS Rex says, really both sides of the Star Wars fan bases are toxic. One side, you can't be positive about anything or you're a shill. The other side, you can't be negative or else you're a hater. Any kind of fight like that divides people this deep, it's going to be toxic. I think I've been called a shill for saying one good thing about The Acolyte. They were like, you're a shill, you're a Disney shill. I said one good thing, one thing about the entire show that was good, and I got called a shill. And I've also been called names that probably can't say on YouTube for criticizing some things that Disney's done. So it's a war. What are you gonna do? Reggie Shell has a list of demands. 1. Reintroduce the Fan Film Awards at the Star Wars Con to make it bigger than ever. Actually invite big fan film creators like Star Wars Theory, Carrie Patterson, etc. 2. Then buy some of the rights to make some of these fan films canon and pay them to make more of these as canon. 3. Apologize to the fans about not respecting the 4. Make an animated show between the original and the fake sequels. 5. Eventually retcon the sequels in universe. Make it really obviously what is in the universe in a movie, as casual fans normies need to it's spelled out because they don't really understand a lot of the nerdy things. 6. Remaster big classic games. I think they're doing that with Knights of the Republic right now. 7. Recreate faithful movie adaptations of Knights of the Republic and Star Wars Dark Forces. 8. Make a sequel TV show to the Fallen Order games. 9. Make the Underworld script into a series of games, movie, and or maybe a limited TV show. 10. Make a faithful adaptation to the Thrawn novels into movies with limited changes, like stuff that was already retconned by Lucas. With the prequels should obviously make sense in the movies. Note, KK is obviously gonna have to leave, but this is really just a given. There it is. What do you think of that list? Not sure about the fan film one. The fan films are made by fans, but they're not, I don't think they're to the level of Star Wars movies yet. Maybe someday they will be, but yeah, I do enjoy the fan films to watch them, but I don't know if they should be Star Wars. Maybe they could help write the new movies as fans. Barely Missed Me says, put all Star Wars content made after 1983 in a dumpster so we can all forget about it. 6 says, Lucas cut of Return of the Sith. Ira Down says, going to Mars, yeah. I don't understand that one. Probka says nothing because at least the solid 1/3 of them are brain-rotted reactionary conservatives and will never like anything actual good. That was a great one. Okay, so that was it. That's just more fighting. Come on, that's not helping. We gotta come together and tell Disney what we want. And our final comment is gonna be right here. I saved this one for last because it was very well thought out, and I think it gets down to the actual problem. What's actually wrong? Why fans are so divided? Why the fans that don't like the sequels feel the way they do? This is a very heartbreaking story, so let's read it. Jairus Jackson, thank you for this comment. Nothing. It's too late. Star Wars is dead in the water and truly breaks my heart. Star Wars is my favorite thing ever. It's my favorite story. It's my favorite franchise. I was more loyal to it than anything else. Now I feel so numb and indifferent towards it. The damage Disney has done to this brand is irreversible. Hardcore fans are heartbroken. Normies don't care anymore. Critics only watch it to tear it apart, and even hate watchers are bored. Disney's relationship with fans over the years has been akin to an abusive relationship. They would gaslight us and say it's our fault. We're all toxic misogynists. Then we'd leave and they'd say, we don't need you, only then to ask, why are fans leaving? They'd promise to change, and when we'd come back, they'd pull the same bullshit again. Before Disney, the prequels were the most divisive part of Star Wars. OT fans didn't like them, but admitted they at least ended on a high note. The kids who grew up with them, though, loved them, like me, because they grew up accepting all 6 as one big story as George Lucas intended. The thing that connected OT and the prequel fans was what came after: the Clone Wars, video games, toys, comics, and memes. And thanks to all this, over time, some OT fans came to appreciate what George was trying to do with the prequels, connecting both stories. What Disney did with the sequels was look at what came before them, poured gasoline on it, and lit a match. They made all the comics and expanded universe non-canon. They butchered and killed off every OT character. And unlike the prequels, their trilogy didn't end on a high note. That was strike one. They almost won people back with The Mandalorian, but even that didn't last. In the eyes of most fans, Disney Star Wars isn't real Star Wars. They haven't earned it, and they clearly don't understand it. Now, yeah, I believe that this comment right here, this gets into why the most hardcore fans left, and it's because how they treated the original characters and how they treated Luke Skywalker, which is my big contention. I mean, Han Solo dying in a stupid way was one thing, but Luke Skywalker just being a coward at the end, in my opinion, being a coward and throwing away his lightsaber, all that, I think it all goes back to that. And that's why I think personally, what would bring the fans back together is the world between worlds. I think that they're going to do it. And I think that it may bring people like Jairus Jackson here back. Give the fans back their heroes. Now that you've heard all of these fans' thoughts here, what did you think? I think this is going to be the last video I do on this one, but if there's more comments like this and we want to talk about it, I'll do some future videos on it. Don't forget to subscribe. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Let's make this one do really well as well. And maybe Disney may even see it and listen to what we're trying to tell them. Let's hope that Star Wars does heal and the fans can come back together. And we could just talk about, you know, who would win in a lightsaber fight and not politics. Let's not get into politics. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.